Hey, Mr. Gray, could you dim the lights for me a little bit?
Yeah, that's
If you are a veteran, you can move down to the front in the middle. We have reserved seating in the front and the middle. All right, let's start.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Before we begin, out of respect for those campus organizations who have practiced for this day, and especially for the honored guests and veterans, please put your phones on silent and put them away. Thank you. Welcome to the 2024 Putnam City West Veterans Day Assembly. My name is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Drake Woolery, and I am the Patriot Battalion Commander.
And my name is Cadet CSM Ashley Linares, and I serve as the Command Sergeant Major of the Patriot Battalion. To our visitors and veterans, we hope you enjoy the presentation we have prepared for you today. Before we post the colors, I would like to share a short story about the origin of our national anthem. On September 13th, 1814, the British had devastated our nation's capital and had begun to lay siege on the city of Baltimore. Francis Scott Key was a Maryland lawyer who had gone to Baltimore to negotiate the release of a friend who had been captured by the British. After securing the release of his friend, Key and the friend were held on the deck of the prison ship as the bombardment of Fort McHenry began. Key watched the campaign for nearly a full day and was relieved to see the American flag was still flying when the smoke had cleared. Key quickly penned a few lines to commemorate the event. His poem was originally titled The Defense of Fort McHenry and was often sung to the tune of a British drinking song. People had begun to refer to the song as the Star-Spangled Banner, and by the 1890s, the U.S. military had adopted the song for ceremonial purposes, playing it to accompany the raising and lowering of the colors. In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson announced that it should be played at official events. It was adopted as the official national anthem on March 3, 1931. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of our nation's colors and the playing of our national anthem.
Please be seated. Veterans and distinguished visitors, good morning and welcome to Putnam City West High School. Our guest speaker this morning is one of our own PC West Patriot family. Mr. Keith Uten is the freshman assistant principal, but more than that, he serves in the Oklahoma Army National Guard. He has recently completed his basic training and is drilling in the National Guard's Officer Candidate School. After graduation, he will be commissioned as a second lieutenant. With over 8 years in education, Principal Uten has dedicated his career to shaping the educational experiences and future success of students. In addition to his leadership in education, he brings a wealth of knowledge and discipline from his prior work as a police officer and his ongoing service in the Army in the Oklahoma National Guard. Principal Uten is passionate about fostering an environment where students are safe, supported, and encouraged to achieve their full potential. Please welcome Mr. Uten to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to stand before you today as we gather to observe Veterans Day, a day dedicated to recognizing and honoring the men and women who have served the United States military. Today, we take a moment to reflect on the profound sacrifices made by our veterans, their unwavering commitment to duty, and the strength of the communities that support them. If you have served in our nation's military, have family that served in our military or are currently serving, please stand up if you're able to do so and be acknowledged by our student body, our staff, our families, and our visitors. Thank you. There are not enough words to express our deepest gratitude to you and your families, and we thank you for your service. Veterans Day is more than just a date on the calendar. It is a solemn reminder that freedom is not free. It is a call to acknowledge the countless sacrifices made by those who have worn the uniform, from the battlefields of distant lands to the quiet corners of home front communities. These men and women did not serve for fame or glory, nor did they expect accolades or applause. On this day, we express our deepest gratitude for their selfless service, which often goes unrecognized, and for the courage they have shown in protecting the freedoms we hold dear. Today is not just about remembering the past, but about honoring those who continue to serve, and those who stand ready to answer the call no matter where or when it comes. At the heart of the military is the principle of selfless service. Service members choose to wear the uniform not for personal gain or recognition, but out of a deep sense of duty to protect others. When a person joins the military, they make a promise to put the needs of the nation and the mission above their own. They choose to place their lives in harm's way, to sacrifice personal comfort and security, all in the name of something greater than themselves. Selflessness is not just a quality, it is a cornerstone of the military culture. It's a value instilled in every recruit from day one, taught in basic training, and carried with them throughout their careers. It's about enduring hardship, facing danger, and sometimes making the ultimate sacrifice, all while asking for nothing in return. Every veteran here today, and those who are no longer with us, have demonstrated this selflessness in ways we can only begin to understand. Whether in combat, in training, or in service to their communities, they have embodied this ideal. While selfless service is an individual commitment, no service member ever truly stands alone. The community surrounding them plays a critical role in their success. Veterans do not serve in a vacuum. They serve with their brothers and sisters in arms, who become their family, close, reliable, and dependable. The bonds formed in the military are unlike any other, forged in the shared experience of hardship, sacrifice, and triumph. But it's not just fellow service members who provide support. It's their families, the communities, and the nation that stand behind them. From the moment they enlist to the day they return home and for years afterwards, veterans are part of a larger web of support. Families of veterans serve too. They make sacrifices in their own right, enduring long separations, worrying for their loved ones' safety, and adapting to the unique challenges military life presents. These sacrifices are often unseen, but they are no less real. Veterans Day reminds us that the responsibility of supporting our service members does not end when they come home. It is a collective effort. Communities must remain engaged in helping veterans reintegrate, access health care, find employment, and navigate the challenges of post-service life. As a society, we must continue to offer the same level of support that military families offer to the loved ones while serving. The military operates under a strict code of ethics, and three of the most cherished principles that guide every service member are duty, honor, and integrity. These values are not just abstract ideals, they are lived and breathed every day in the action of our veterans. Duty means fulfilling one's responsibilities, whether large or small, regardless of the obstacles in the way. It's the commitment to showing up, no matter how difficult the task may seem. For veterans, duty is about doing what needs to be done, regardless of personal risk or sacrifice. It's about protecting the interests of the nation, often at the cost of personal comfort, time, and sometimes safety. Honor is about upholding the integrity of the service, the military, and the nation. It's about holding oneself to the highest ethical standards, even when no one is looking. Veterans have lived lives of honor, following a path of respect, duty, and fairness. They know the value of treating others with dignity, and their actions, both on and off the battlefield, reflect that commitment. Integrity is the unwavering adherence to moral principles. In the military, integrity means always doing the right thing, even when it's hard. Veterans have stood firm in their integrity through every test and trial, knowing that their reputation, their word, and their actions are what they leave behind for others to judge. These values of duty, honor, and integrity are not just military ideals. They are universal principles that have shaped the very fabric of our nation. They are the foundation on which our country was built, and they continue to guide us today. Each veteran has a story. Stories are sometimes difficult to share, but stories that are worth hearing. From World War II to the conflicts in Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan, and beyond, each generation of veterans has faced its own unique challenges. Some of us may have personal connections to these veterans, parents, grandparents, siblings, or friends who have served. Others may not. But it is crucial that we take the time to learn about their experiences, to listen to their stories, and to understand the price of freedom. In doing so, we honor not just the individual veterans, but the shared values and principles that have been defended by every service member. We cannot forget the lessons our veterans have to teach us, lessons of loyalty, discipline, sacrifice, and the importance of standing up for what is right, even when it is difficult. When we think of sacrifice, we often think of soldiers on the front lines, facing danger and adversity. But the sacrifices made by veterans go far beyond the battlefield. Veterans have given up time with their families, missed birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays, and spent countless nights away from home. They have endured physical pain, emotional trauma, and psychological wounds that are not always visible to the eye. Many veterans have returned home with scars that are not easy to see, but they carry with them every day. It is easy to say thank you and move on. But we must go deeper. We must recognize that the sacrifices of our veterans are ongoing, and that their service does not end when they leave the uniform. Many veterans continue to face challenges, from physical disabilities to mental health issues like PTSD, depression, and anxiety. Their sacrifices live on in ways that we may not always see, but we must remain committed to supporting them throughout their lives. Some veterans have paid the ultimate price, their lives. They have given everything so that we can live in a land of freedom and opportunity. We must never forget that these sacrifices, large and small, have shaped the world we live in today. It is also important to acknowledge the role of military families. A service member's sacrifice is shared by their loved ones. Parents, spouses, children, and siblings are all impacted by the decision to serve. The support of a military family is critical to the success of the service member, and it deserves our recognition as well. Military spouses hold down the home front, raising children alone during deployments, managing household responsibilities, and often moving across the country or even the world. Children of service members grow up with a parent who may be absent for long periods of time. And yet, they too are heroes, as they learn resilience, adaptability, and strength in the face of uncertainty. On this Veterans Day, let's take a moment to thank the families of our veterans as well. They too make extraordinary sacrifices, and their contributions are a crucial part of the story of military service. Before I close, I want to speak about brotherhood and the importance of this. Brotherhood in the military is more than just camaraderie. It's the kind of bond that transcends race, religion, and background. It is the understanding that no matter where you come from or what your personal story might be, when you're in uniform, you're part of something larger than yourself. You become part of a family that stretches across time, across oceans, and across generations. When you serve, you quickly realize that your life is no longer just about you. It's about the person to your left and the person to your right, the men and the women that serve with you. These are your brothers and your sisters, and their well-being becomes your priority, just as your own safety becomes theirs. The responsibility to protect each other is not just a duty, it's a deep, unspoken commitment that exists in the very heart of what it means to serve. In the heat of battle or the stillness of night, when the world feels uncertain and the risks are high, it is the bond of brotherhood that provides strength. It's the shared belief that no matter how tough the situation may be, we will never leave each other behind. It's the knowledge that even in the most trying moments, the person beside you will have your back, just as you will have theirs. But the bond of brotherhood doesn't end when the uniform comes off. It doesn't fade away when the battle ends. It is a lifelong connection that endures long after soldiers return home. The experience of service leaves a mark that can never be erased, and the brothers and sisters who share those experiences remain a part of each of us forever. This is why it's so important, not only on Veterans Day, but every day, to recognize and honor the sacrifices of those who served. They didn't just defend our country, they defended one another. And in doing so, they showed us the true meaning of brotherhood, standing together in the face of adversity, supporting each other when the going gets tough, and remembering that no matter where we are never truly alone. To all the veterans here today, and to all those who cannot be with us, thank you. Thank you for your service, for your courage, and for the brotherhood that you have so generously given to this nation. As we reflect on the meaning of Veterans Day, let us remember that this day is not just about history. It's about the present and the future. It's about ensuring that the sacrifices of our veterans are never forgotten, and that they are given the care, respect, and support that they deserve. In the same spirit of selflessness, duty, and honor that our veterans have exemplified, we as a community must continue to uphold these values. We must offer our veterans the opportunity to thrive in civilian life, provide access to health care and mental health resources, and help them navigate the challenges they face after their service ends. As we leave here today, I encourage each of you to reflect on the importance of Veterans Day and the responsibility we have to our veterans. Take the time to thank a veteran, to learn about their experiences, and to advocate for the issues they face. Show gratitude not just in words, but in deeds. Support veterans organizations, mentor a veteran, or volunteer your time to help those who served. In honoring veterans, we honor the best of what it means to be an American. We honor the courage and commitment that define us as a nation. We honor the shared history that binds us together, one that has been shaped by the sacrifices of the men and women who have answered the call to serve. As we honor their sacrifices, let's commit ourselves to standing by them, not just today, but every day. Let's remind them that their service was not in vain, that their sacrifice has made a difference, and that we are forever grateful. To all of our veterans here today, and to those who have gone before us, we say thank you. Thank you for your courage, your commitment, your sacrifices, and for the example you set for us all. Your legacy is one of honor, integrity, and unwavering duty to a cause greater than yourself. Let us carry that legacy forward, and may we always remember that the price of freedom is paid with service and sacrifice. In closing, I want to leave you with this thought. Freedom and peace are not simple, easy, or automatic. They are earned, sometimes at great cost, but the brave men and women of our armed forces. As we observe Veterans Day today, let us be reminded of the sacrifices made by those who have served our country. Let us thank them for their courage, their service, and their commitment to protecting our way of life. And let us commit ourselves to ensuring that we honor them, not just today, but every day, by standing up for the values they fought for, by supporting those who are still in need, and by remembering that the freedoms we enjoy are a precious gift that must never be taken for granted. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of our veterans once more for their service. Happy Veterans Day to you all. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Uden, for your remarks. Please accept this True Patriot Certificate and our Patriot Battalion coin as appreciation for your participation in this year's assembly.
Many of our faculty and staff have served or have family members who have served or are currently serving in the armed forces. The slides in the following presentation represent those veterans connected to our school. Take a moment to ponder the sacrifice of so many of our Patriot family.
Marches of the Armed Forces, written by Michael Sweeney, is a melody that includes excerpts from the official song of each of the services. The Marine Corps hymn is a march that reflects on the early history of the Corps and is sung to the tune of an 1867 opera song, Couplets of Two Men of Arms. Its current lyrics were adopted by the Commandant of the Corps in 1929.
The Army song was originally written for the Field Artillery in 1908 and reflects routine activities performed by artillerymen stationed in the Philippines in 1908. It was rewritten in 1956 and adopted by the Army as the Army goes rolling along.
The Coast Guard is called September Paratus, which means always ready. The composer wrote the words while assigned to Savannah, Georgia in 1922, and composed the music while assigned to Alaska in 1927. September Paratus was adopted by the Coast Guard in 1928.
The Air Force song was originally written for the U.S. Army Air Corps in 1938. It was composed by a music teacher after a committee reviewed over 700 submissions during a contest.
Anchors Away, the Navy song, was a joint composition by the band master of the U.S. Naval Academy, who wrote the music, and a cadet at the Naval Academy, who wrote the music, who wrote the words. Written in 1906, it was first played at the Army-Navy football game that year, which, by the way, the Navy won, and adopted as the official Navy song in 1907.
The U.S. Space Force, the newest military branch established in 2019, finally officially adopted its own song titled Semper Supera on September 20th, 2022. It was named for the USSF motto, Latin for Always Above, written by a prior member of the U.S. Air Force Band and scored by the staff arranger for the U.S. Coast Guard Band. Its lyrics captures what it means to be a guardian. We're the mighty, watchful eye, guardians beyond the blue, the visible front line, war fighters brave and true. Boldly reaching into space, there's no limit to our sky. Standing guard, both night and day, we're the Space Force from on high. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the retiring of the colors and remain standing for honors. Another traditional tribute to those who have served is the 21-gun salute. The tradition of firing the 21-gun salute at military funerals began with an old practice of halting the battle to remove the dead and wounded from the battlefield. Once the dead were buried, 3 volleys were fired over the graves to signal that the deed was done, then fighting could resume. Later, ships flying flags of the newly formed United States were saluted from nearby ships and shore batteries with 13 guns. The number grew with each additional state in the Union, but eventually settled on 21 as the nation continued to grow.
Half right, loose, unlock, rifle, prepare to fire. Ready, aim, fuck. Ready, aim, fuck. Ready, aim, fuck. Lock, rifle.
The posted colors will now be replaced with a ceremonial flag. Another official tribute to those who have served is the playing of taps. Taps is an American call, composed by the Union Army's Brigadier General Daniel Butterfield, while at camp at Harrison Landing, Virginia in 1862. Butterfield wrote the call to replace the earlier tattoo, Lights Out, which he thought too formal. The call soon became known as taps because it was often tapped out on a drum in the absence of a bugler. Before the year was out, sounding taps became the practice in both northern and southern camps. The call was officially adopted by the U.S. Army in 1874. Bugler, sound taps.
The last show of respect to those who have served is the presentation of the flag to the service member's family. Flags are provided for burial services of service members and veterans. The flag for one who dies on active duty is provided by his or her branch of service. Flags for other veterans are provided by the Department of Veterans Affairs. The flag is presented to the next of kin at the end of the funeral, usually by the military chaplain or other officer present.
Please be seated. In the U.S. Armed Forces, at the ceremony of retreat, the flag is lowered, folded in a triangular fold, and kept under watch throughout the night as a tribute to our nation's honored dead. At the end of a memorial service for a veteran or a service member, the flag is folded in the same way and presented to the next of kin. The folds of the flag hold significance for those who have served and are a reminder of everything our veterans and military personnel have been through during our nation's history.
The first fold we make for all the veterans, for they gave a portion of their lives for the defense of our country and flag. Their efforts to attain peace throughout the world have not been in vain and shall never be forgotten.
The second fold of our flag is a symbol of life. Like our freedom, it should be cherished and never taken for granted.
The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veterans who have departed our ranks, who gave some or all of their lives for the defense of our country to attain and maintain peace.
The fourth fold represents our loyalty to our country, for in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong.
The fifth fold is to our leadership, in whom we put our trust.
The sixth fold is where our hearts lie. It is with our hearts that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and that our flag against all enemies, whether they be found within or outside the boundaries of our republic.
The eighth fold is made in honor of states our veterans have served, each one represented by the flag's union, representative white stars on a field of blue.
The ninth fold is a tribute to our families, for it has been through their faith, love, loyalty, and devotion that we have served our country.
The 10th fold is a sign of our camaraderie and esprit de corps, without which we would not be an effective fighting force.
The 11th fold is a tribute to the honor of our cause of freedom.
The 12th fold is for students, parents, teachers, and staff of our school and our community, who have so faithfully served in our nation's military.
On the 13th fold, the flag is completely folded. The stars are uppermost, and it takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who were followed throughout the years by their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, preserving our rights, privileges, and freedoms we enjoy today.
After a final inspection to ensure the flag is properly folded, a military chaplain or another commissioned officer takes the flag from the flag detail and presents it to the next of kin on behalf of a grateful nation as a token of their appreciation for veterans and veterans' honorable and faithful service.
We want to thank the band, orchestra, choir, and Mr. Gray and Ms. Bertles in the booth for their contribution to our ceremony. We also want to thank Chief Warrant Officer Scott Sanders, Command Sergeant Major Clint Anderson, Sergeant First Class Barrett Miller, and Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Thomas for taking the time to teach and mentor all of the cadets, including myself. And lastly, would all those in the audience who have served in the armed forces please stand? Let us show our appreciation. I would like to say thank you to all the veterans who have served and to the ones who gave it all. You are not forgotten.
The PC West Patriot Battalion would like to invite all of the veterans present here for refreshments in the JROTC area located at the end of G Hall. Thank you all for coming to our school to honor those who have served. Cadets of the Patriot Battalion will now escort our veterans and guests as they leave the auditorium. Students, remain seated until you are dismissed to A lunch or B fourth hour.